What is a brake?
Brake is a mechanical device that inhibits motion by absorbing energy from a moving system. It is used for slowing or stopping a moving vehicle, wheel, axle, or to prevent its motion, by means of friction. Hydraulic brake system is the common braking system in automotive vehicle. It utilizes the brake fluid in the brake system circuit. It consists of the following components: 1 brake pump or power brake, 2 brake lines, 3 disc brake, and 4 is the drum brake.
Brake system composed of the following components: disc brake, drum brake, brake lines, and the power brake with the common street name Hydrovac. Parts of the hydraulic brake line: front brake hose, T-fitting, front brake line, rear brake line, rear brake hose, rear T-fitting, and brake pedal.
Overview in the operation of hydraulic brake. When brake pedal is depressed, the brake shoe expands to the brake drum, and also the disc pad grips the brake rotor. The amount of force exerted in the brake drum and in rotor disc cause the vehicle to slow or stop. The details on how it operates is described in the rest of this video. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
What is a power brake?
Power brake is a vacuum assist brake that multiply the force in the master cylinder push rod. It consists of the following components: 1 is the brake booster and 2 is the master cylinder.
Master cylinder, brake booster. What is a master cylinder?
Master cylinder is a control device that convert force into hydraulic pressure, by means of foot force applied through the brake pedal. It is also called a brake pump.
Parts of the master cylinder: outlet port rear wheel, reservoir cap, reservoir, cylinder body, outlet port front wheel, primary piston, secondary piston, piston return spring, primary fluid intake port, and the secondary fluid intake port. Master cylinder repair kit, a complete set of replaceable parts in the master cylinder. It consists of the following parts: primary and secondary piston, master cylinder rubber cup, primary and secondary piston spring, dust seal, piston stopping bolt, and circ clip. How the master cylinder works.
When brake pedal is depressed, the piston pumps the brake fluid out from its port to the designated wheel cylinder. When brake pedal is released, the piston returns to its original position, allowing the brake fluid to pass through its port and return to the reservoir.
What is a brake booster?
Brake booster is a braking device that multiply the force exerted on the brake pedal. It utilizes the vacuum generated from the intake manifold of the gasoline engine, and from the vacuum pump in the case of diesel engine.
Vacuum source in gasoline engine is from the engine intake manifold. In diesel engine, it came from the vacuum pump at the rear of the alternator. Belt-driven vacuum pump. Gear-driven pump. Parts of the brake booster. Vacuum port. Low vacuum warning switch. Clevis. Front housing. Diaphragm spring and plate. Booster diaphragm. Main rod. Spring. Plunger and rear housing. How the brake booster works.
When brake pedal is released or in still position, the spool valve port is open, the vacuum equalize and accumulate at the front and rear chamber, as indicated by the red line. The diaphragm spring pushes back the diaphragm, and the main rod to the default position. When brake pedal is depressed, the spool valve moves forward and closes the rear port. The vacuum pulls the diaphragm, and the main push rod, which is then push the master cylinder piston. The vacuum works on the front chamber as indicated by the red line.
What is a disc brake?
A disc brake is a type of brake that uses the calipers to squeeze the pairs of pads against a disc or a rotor to create a friction. This action slows the rotation of a shaft, such as a vehicle axle, either to reduce its rotational speed or to hold it stationary.
Parts of a disc brake. Disc caliper. Rotor disc. To disassemble the disc brake. 1. Remove the anchor pin. 2. Remove the caliper. 3. Remove the disc pad, and the bleeder screw. 4. Remove the piston. 5. Remove the dust seal and the seal ring. Bleeder screw. Anchor bolt. Anchor pin. Anti-seize grease. Disc pad. Disc caliper. Dust seal. Seal ring. And disc caliper piston. What is a drum brake?
Drum brake is a brake that uses friction, caused by a set of shoes with high friction lining materials that press outward against a rotating drum cylinder, called a brake drum.
Parts of the drum brake. Brake drum. Brake shoe spring upper. Brake shoe. Brake shoe spring lower. Wheel cylinder. Hold down kit. Brake shoe adjuster. The drum brake. 1. Remove the brake drum. 2. Remove the hold down kit by pressing the pin. 3. Push the cap. 4. Twist the cap to 90 degrees and remove. Parts of the wheel cylinder: rubber boots, bleeder screw, cylinder bore, wheel cylinder body, rubber cup stabilizer spring, rubber cup, wheel cylinder piston and wheel cylinder inlet port. Types of rubber cap:
ring type, and cup type.
Rubber boots, used to seal the piston and to prevent the contamination of dust, moisture, water, and other foreign particle against the formation of rust that cause the piston to stuck up. Rubber cup, used to seal the brake fluid between the gap of the piston and the cylinder bore. The pliability of the rubber compensate the flaws and irregularity between the piston and the cylinder bore. Bleeder screw, used to excrete the air from the brake system. Wheel cylinder piston act as intermediary to transmit the hydraulic force to the brake shoe. Wheel cylinder spring, used to stabilize and maintain the position of the rubber cup inside the cylinder bore. Brake shoe adjuster, used to adjust the distance or clearance of the brake shoe to the brake drum. Hold down kit, used to fasten the brake shoe to the backing plate. The brake shoe spring, used to pull back the brake shoe from the brake drum when brake is released. Backing plate is a pressed metal parts that hold all the parts and components in the drum brake. Brake drum is a cylindrical cast steel, pressed by the brake shoe the moment the brake is applied. The brake drum is fastened to the wheel axle. Brake shoe is a metal backing where the brake lining is attached and fastened either by rivets or adhesive. Brake lining is made of durable high-friction aramid fiber materials, to withstand heat, abrasion, and pressure, attached to metal backing or brake shoe by means of rivets or special adhesive. When brake is applied, it comes into contact with the brake rotor, or drum to slow or stop the axle rotation. This prevents the metal-to-metal contact, that can damage the rotor or drum and the metal backing. Brake shoe adjuster is used to adjust the clearance between the brake lining and the brake drum. There are two types of thread in brake adjuster: left hand and right hand. The right will use the right thread and the left will use the left thread. If you turn the adjuster counterclockwise and the adjuster shaft extend and retract on clockwise, then that is the right hand brake adjuster. If you turn the adjuster clockwise and the adjuster shaft extend and retract on counterclockwise, then that is the left-hand brake adjuster. Wide gap or improper adjustment between the brake shoe and the brake drum will result to 1. Poor brake response, 2. Low brake pedal, 3. Swerving of vehicle during the braking, and 4. Brake failure. No gap between the brake lining and the brake drum will result to 1. Overheating of brake, 2. Premature damage of brake and rubber parts, 3. Premature wear on brake drum, 4. Burnt or damaged brake lining, 5. Dragging during acceleration. Proper brake adjustment or clearance between the brake shoe and the brake drum will result to 1. Effective brake response, 2. Smooth acceleration, and 3. Stable steering wheel during the braking. Brake hose is made of a specially formulated rubber hose, reinforced with multiply nylon or steel cord to provide flexibility in transmitting the brake fluid from the brake lines to a moving wheel axle, and to withstand sudden pressure changes. Brake lines is made of inner-lined copper steel tube, designed to eliminate corrosion and to withstand cracks due to vibration. Fittings: the common fittings used in the automotive brake system is the inverted nut and flare nut, attached to a double flare end steel tube. In some application, a banjo fitting is brassed to the brake lines. The fitting in a brake hose is a factory crimped and non-reparable. Brake hoses. Male to male fittings. Banjo to male fittings. Female to female fittings. T to female fittings. Inverted nut fittings on a double flare steel tubes. Operation of hydraulic brake. 1. Brake pedal is depressed. 2. The master cylinder piston push the brake fluid to the wheel cylinder. 3. The caliper piston pushes the disc pad to grasp the rotor disc, and the wheel cylinder piston pushes the brake shoe to expand against the brake drum to stop their rotation. When brake is applied, the surface of the brake lining in a disc pad pressed the rotating rotor. Also, the surface of the brake lining pressed against the inner surface of the rotating drum. This will cause the rotation of the rotor and drum to slow, or stop.
1. When brake pedal is released, the master cylinder port is open, allowing the brake fluid to return to the reservoir. 2. The brake shoe spring pull the brake shoe to retract and pushes back the wheel cylinder piston. 3. The wheel cylinder piston pushes the brake fluid to return to the master cylinder reservoir. The episode 1 of the automotive brake system ends here. If you have any clarification or you want to review, just ask the assigned trainer for scheduling. Thank you for watching.